speaking as you are.
Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome to the William Grandgeorge Theater. My name is Colby. I'm from the Office Alumni Relations. Starts already. I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to come back and be with us here for our third annual alumni weekend. Just to let you guys know, there is no flash photography. Please remember to turn your cell phones off. And should you need them, the emergency exits are where you came in. And then right here on stage left, you'll go down a flight of stairs and out the double doors. Other than that, enjoy the best of Grandgeorge.
I have tricks in my pocket. I have things up my sleeve, but I am the opposite of a stage magician. He gives you illusion that has the appearance of truth. I give you truth in the pleasant disguise of illusion. I take you back to an alley in St. Louis. The time, that quaint period when the huge middle class of America was matriculating from the school for the blind. Their eyes had failed them, or they had failed their eyes, and so they were having their fingers pressed forcibly down on the fiery braille alphabet of a dissolving economy. In Spain, there was revolution. Here, there was only shouting, confusion, labor disturbances, sometimes violent, in otherwise peaceful cities such as Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit. That is the social background of this play. The play is memory. Being a memory play, it is dimly lighted. It's sentimental, not realistic. In memory, everything seems to happen to music. That explains the fiddle in the wings. I am the narrator of this play and a character in it. The other characters in the play are my mother, Amanda, my sister Laura, and a gentleman caller who appears in the final scenes. He is the most realistic character of the play, being an emissary from the world we were somehow set apart from. But, having a poet's weakness for symbols, I'm using this character as a symbol, as a long-delayed but always expected something that we live for. There is a fifth character in the play who doesn't appear other than in a photograph hanging on the wall. When you see this picture of this grinning gentleman, please remember that this is our father, who left us a long time ago. He was a telephone man who fell in love with long distance and skipped the light fantastic out of town. The last we heard from him was a picture postcard from the Pacific coast of Mexico containing a message of 2 words: hello, goodbye, and no return address. The rest of the play will explain itself. Good afternoon. Welcome to the best of Grandgeorge. My name is Niall Fahey, class of 1997, and it is such an honor and a privilege to be your guide today as we look back at this remarkable 80-year journey to date. With apparently no signs of slowing down, Jake. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take a few performances that G has directed in plays through the years, and we are so privileged to have quite a number of people who have traveled near and far to reprise their roles from plays that G has directed them in. So, I'll go first because I'm on stage. As you just saw, I did the opening monologue from Tennessee Williams' The Glass Menagerie, which G directed myself and the beautiful Stacey Uria back in 1997. It was my senior year, and let's just say I was overwhelmed. And I actually auditioned for the gentleman caller. And my roommate and close friend Clark Kohler auditioned for Tom. And we just felt like, this was going to be the best roles for both of us. So halfway through the audition, we were reading the scenes together. G walks in, notices that I'm the gentleman caller. Clark is Tom. And halfway through the scene stops. Stop! What are you doing? Why are you reading him and you reading him? Switch roles, please. So, reluctantly, switched roles. About halfway through the scene, G, in classic G form, in a dismissive but nurturing way, said, "Thank you. Moving on." So, before we do move on to all of the plays and performances, please allow me to bring you up to speed on G's remarkable 80-year journey. And we're going to take a quick look back at G's life. On October 9th, 1933, in Aurora, Illinois, William Norton Grandgeorge was born. Now, it's been wildly rumored that G entered the world with one of his classic enthusiasms. Oh my! That's never been confirmed or denied. The first child of Genevieve and Vernon Grandgeorge, William grew up in Sonoma, Illinois. Along with his three brothers, William had a delightful and happy childhood, which came to an end when he became a clerk in his father's drugstore. However, he still had time to pursue singing and dance class, learning magic tricks, as well as appearing in numerous school plays. Upon graduating high school in 1951, William followed his mother to Knox College, in Galesburg, Illinois, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in 1955. After college, William went on to teach high school in Roanoke, Illinois. It was while teaching senior English that a bright and beautiful young student walked into his class and caught more than his attention. She, in fact, stole his heart. And so in 1957, William married Nancy McGinnis. Now this is no doubt, it is and forever will be his greatest achievement, both professionally and personally. And I don't think anybody. 56 years married? 57. 57. And in 57 years, they have raised how many children? 2 wonderful and loving children, and become grandparents to 3 fine and adoring grandsons. After teaching high school a few more years, William went to graduate school at the University of Illinois for his master's degree, and then on to Indiana University to work on his PhD. By 1966, William made his way to Northeast, where he went to Tufts University, which is just north of Boston, but he was also courted by the University of Vermont. It was during this time a young college was being formed here in Bristol, Rhode Island. And without knowing it, Professor Grandgeorge was a marked man. He was a guest speaker one night at the Providence Art Club, invited by his friend and artist Maxwell Mays. In the audience were 2 faculty members from the then Roger Williams College, who, after hearing Professor Grandgeorge speak about his experience in theater, immediately approached the then college president, Ralph Gauvet, about this fascinating educator from Tufts. This was exactly the man this college needed. And so in 1968, Professor Grandgeorge was hired initially as an English professor. But he also had the idea to establish a theater department. He went from being the youngest faculty member at Tufts to being one of the oldest faculty members at Roger Williams. But it was apparent to all that his tremendous energy and infectious enthusiasm were boundless and no doubt exhausted many of his younger peers, and I'm sure a few students. The college president gave Professor Grandgeorge free rein to design a theater program, but with two key directives: establish a permanent home on campus for the theater department, and create a study abroad program to garner interest for prospective students looking at this small liberal arts college. So, the first directive, find a home for the theater department. Many of us know that for the first 14 years, plays were produced in 2 classrooms combined into one large space in a building on campus. And it was appropriately called the Coffee House Theater, because of its intimate settings, I'm sure. All the while, Professor Grandgeorge was constantly looking for a structure to be the center of his theater program. Subsequently, a barn was found on an estate in Gloucester, Rhode Island, moved piece by piece, and reconfigured to Professor Grandgeorge's specific guidelines to become a performing arts center along with a few classrooms and offices. Yes, the barn, as we know it, opened its doors in 1986 and was the first main stage production was a musical. Luck be a lady tonight. Guys and Dolls, that's right. And it was directed by Professor Grandgeorge. The second directive did not take quite as long. The London program, as we know it, began when Professor Grandgeorge took a group of students to London in the fall of 1971 to live, study, and experience the London theater scene and its culture. It has become the benchmark for study abroad programs, rewarding and unique in so many ways. From the number of plays seen in a semester, on average 45, to the numerous trips to historical landmarks and sites, from Stratford-upon-Avon to Bath, the Tower of London to Stonehenge, and the wonderful professors, teachers, and guest speakers handpicked by Professor Grandgeorge himself, who have enhanced the program through the years. People like Michael Billington, Peter Buckroyd, Charles Duff, John Earl, Anne Murray, Jane Passes, James Roos Evans, Donald Wumble, Jean Shepherd, Bridget Wrench, Ivan Merritt. Countless number of guest actors, directors, writers, designers, stage managers, and critics who were and continue to be so gracious in coming in to meet and speak with the students participating in the program. Look, it's hard to imagine, for those of us that, have been to London, you always think back about, your program, right? The professor that took you there, your classmates, the shows that you saw, the places that you went, the experiences that you had. Like the first time you got absolutely smashed on Strongbow. You stumble home one night and you decide to wake up the entire building and wake up everybody, including one irate yet handsome professor and his lovely wife. We're good, right, Peter? Let's get back on track. Both directives wouldn't have amounted to anything if it wasn't for the faculty here at the barn. And Professor Grandgeorge knew this. Just as he was slowly yet surely establishing the theater program and laying the foundation for what it is today, Professor Grandgeorge would admit the key to its success was always surrounding himself and his students with dedicated, intelligent, passionate, and talented professors and staff. Now, allow me to name just a few that Professor Grandgeorge hired himself, and then we can do applause at the end. Yep. Betsy Argo, Laurie Balzano, Teresa Boggs, Bob Calenda, the lovely Diane Kroll, Kelly Wiki Davis, Gareth Ames, Priscilla Amy, Jeffrey Martin, Anne Mae Gravel, Nancy Gustafson, Todd Nennert, Gary Shore, Mary Stott, Bonnie Stagg, Robin Stone, Laura Stowe, Debbie Wasserman, Bob Weiner, and Peter Wright. Now, no doubt, I'm sure I probably forgot a few names, and I apologize. But you get the idea of the quality, right? What insight to bring such a fantastic group of educators to this program. I'm sure most, if not all, would thank Professor Grandgeorge for bringing them to this campus, for being part of this program, and for the direction and wisdom he has shared with them through the years. That said, on behalf of all the students, past and present, I would like to applaud Professor Grandgeorge for bringing such a brilliant collection of faculty and staff here to the barn, for not only enriching our education and experience here at Roger Williams, but most importantly, for enriching our lives. For with their knowledge, their love, and their support, but their friendship through the years. I thank you, and we love you, and we applaud you. See, Jeffrey, I love you. I got that love you. Granted, it's because you're married to Barbara, but I love you. On June 9, 2007, this theater space that we sit in now was renamed the William N. Grandgeorge Theater in honor of 40 years of service to a man who founded this theater department, the London program, and is responsible for the barn being a part of this school's ever-growing campus in the last 26 years. However, it's more than a legacy that Professor Grandgeorge has worked so hard to establish here. It's a community. It's a community of colleagues, friends, and family. But most importantly, it's the students, your students, Professor Grandgeorge, who will be forever thankful for the generosity and encouragement that you have given to each and every one of us through the years, regardless of where our lives have taken us. Over 450 productions later, from plays to musicals, dance performances, and various guest series, the theater department today is a living and thriving piece of history here in Bristol, Rhode Island. And so it's because of this and everything that you have accomplished in making this program what it is today, I would ask you all to stand with me now and join in applauding this mountain of a man, this loving force of nature, who we are all so indebted to, Professor Grandgeorge. Now that my makeup is completely ruined, let's stroll through the years with some of your former students, your actors, who have traveled near and far to celebrate your birthday today with some loving stories and marvelous performances. In the fall of 1969, This Is the Real Speaking was the first play produced on the Bristol campus, and it has remained a favorite of G's over all these years. It also resonated with many of the students who were cast in that first production, including Liz Hellenbeck, who played the role of Judy, and would one day find herself in her home in California, having decorated her bedroom and kitchen in a very familiar manner.
And the bedroom's gonna be all in white. Everything in white. White walls, of course, and a white ceiling, and white lace curtains with some sort of floral pattern in them. White on white. And there's going to be a dressing table with a white pleated skirt around it in silk, and a white silk bedspread, and the rugs. The floors in the bedroom are going to be just natural wood. And I'm going to grow African violets on the windowsill in the bedroom because it'll get the south sun. And I'll have a white Scotty dog or one of those white yarn cats like Mrs. Carter's makes on the bed. And I'll throw some white silk throw pillows up against the bed pillows there. And that's the bedroom, all in white. And the kitchen. The kitchen's gonna be green, a pale green, you know, and yellow. Very sunny yellow. The cabinets are going to be pale green, and the floor and the walls are going to be yellow, and the oven and the stove and the sink are going to be pale green like the cabinets, and the ceiling's going to be little yellow and green checks. And I'm going to have the curtains. There's going to be 2 windows, one over the sink and one over the breakfast table there, and they're going to be ruffled cotton, plain polished cotton, and they're checks. And then I'm going to have a lot of counter space. The counters, a lot of counter space. And they're going to be violet. No, yellow, like the floors. And that's the kitchen, all in green and yellow. Oh, and there's going to be a stool to sit on, a tall one. And that's green with yellow and green checks on top, upholstered. And then the bedroom's going to be violet and white. Oh, no, all in white. Right, everything in white, but not a cold white, not that kind of a white. More of an off-white. Cream. No, ivory. Yeah, and the bathroom's going to be all in blue. Everything in blue.
London program was treated to a performance of A.A. Milne's Toad of Toad Hall. They were so enchanted by the play that upon returning home, they asked if they could produce it here at Roger Williams. At Christmas of their senior year, they brought to life the characters of Mr. Toad, Rat, Badger, and of course, Mole.
Ratty? What was that? Cool. I'm not frightened. I do wish Mr. Rat were here. He's so comforting as Rat. The brave old Mr. Toad, he'd know what to do. He'd frighten them all away. Ratty always said, don't go into the wildwood. We never do, he said. It isn't safe, he said. Not by yourself, he said. That's what Ratty said. But I thought I knew better. There he was, dear old Rat, dozing by the fire. And I thought if I just sneaked out, just to see what the wildwood was like, with the... I should be safe up against a tree. Why didn't I think of that before? Ratty would have thought of it. He's so wise as Ratty. Oh, Ratty, I do wish you were here. It's so much more friendly with 2.
In 1973, G directed Thornton Wilder's Our Town. It's easy to understand why this unique play and its view of early American life remains one of his favorites. Let's have a look now at a town meeting in Grover's Corner.
Well, I guess I don't need to tell you that we're run here by a board of selectmen. All males vote at the age of 21, and women vote indirect. We're lower middle class, sprinkling of professional men, and 10% illiterate laborers. Politically, we're 86% Republicans, 6% Democrats, 4% Socialists, and rest indifferent. Religiously, we're 85% Protestants, 12% Catholics, and rest indifferent.
Have you any comments, Mr. Webb?
Well, a very ordinary town, if you ask me. It's a little better behaved than most, probably a lot duller. But our young people here seem to like it well enough. 90% of them graduated from high school, settled down right here to live, even those who've been away to college.
Now, is there anyone in the audience would like to ask Editor Webb a few questions about our town?
Is there much drinking in Grover's Corner?
Well, ma'am, I don't know what you would call much, but Saturday nights the farmhands go down to Ellery Greeno's stable and holler some. We have one or two town drunks, but they're always having remorses when an evangelist comes to town. So, no, I'd say liquor don't have a regular place in the home here. Except in the medicine chest. Right good for a snake bite, you know, always was.
Is there anyone in the
Come
town...
forward, would you, so we can all hear you?
Is there anyone in the town concerned with social justice and industrial fairness?
Well, yes. Everybody is. Something terrible. I mean, most of them talk about all the time about who's rich and who's poor.
Oh, why don't you do something about it?
Oh, well, I don't know. We're all hunting for a way that the sensible and the diligent can rise to the top, and the lazy and quarrelsome sink to the bottom. In the meantime, we take care of those who can't help themselves, and those that can, we leave alone. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Webb,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Webb, is there any culture or love of beauty in Grover's Corner?
Well, ma'am, no, there ain't much. Not the way you mean. Come to think of it, a couple of the girls play piano at the high school commencement, but they're not happy about it. No, there's not much culture. But maybe this is the place to tell you that we do have pleasures of a kind here. We like the sun coming up over the mountain in the morning. We all notice a lot about the birds. We pay a lot of attention to them. And we watch the changing of the seasons. Well, everybody knows about that, but those other things... No, you're right, ma'am, there ain't much. Robinson Crusoe, the Bible, of course. Handel's Largo, we all know that. And Whistler's Mother. But that's just about as far as we go.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Our next stop down memory lane is Bus Stop. This classic tale by William Inge about a cowboy and a showgirl was directed by G in 1976.
Maybe I'm a sap. Maybe I should just go to Montana and marry Bo. I mean, all he wants is a girl he can throw his arms around and hug and kiss, that's all. Other than that, he doesn't even know I exist. I never did agree to marry him. You see, Bo come in one night when I was singing that old Black Magic. It's one of my best numbers. And he got so excited, he liked it so much, he jumped up on a chair and started whooping like an Indian and put his fingers in his mouth and blew like a steam engine. I'd never seen a real cowboy before. I mean, I'd seen him in movies, but never in the flesh. He was just so darn healthy looking. I don't mind saying I was attracted to him right from the start. But it was what you might call a sexual attraction. Anyway, the next morning he wakes up and goes, "Yippee! We're getting married!" I honestly thought he was crazy. I mean, I tried to reason with him, but he just wouldn't listen. He followed me around like a shadow. I mean, at night he had to go back to the rodeo, but as soon as that rodeo was over, he was back at the Blue Dragon in time for the midnight show. Kept saying all week that how he and Verge were going to come and take me back to Montana. And I knew the night that that rodeo ended, that's exactly what was going to happen. So I decided to beat it. One of the girls at the Blue Dragon, she had a farm across the river in Kansas, said I could stay with her. So I went in and I sung for the first show and then told him I was quitting. I mean, I've been wanting to find another job anyway. And I took my share of the kitty and I went to go get the bus. I had to tell people there that I was taking the midnight bus, and they had to tell Virgil when he came looking for me. Paid him $5 so he could find out. I go to the bus station, and in come Bo and Verge, and he just walks right up to that ticket window and says, "3 tickets to Montana." I I didn't know what to say. Then he dragged me onto the bus, and I've been there ever since. And I got a funny feeling deep down inside I'm going to end up in Montana.
Many of G's students can tell you that Under Milkwood is one of his favorites, first produced here in 1977. Here now to tell you of his experience of this story is Mark Ackelson. I did that on purpose.
Before I get to Under Milkwood, which I unfortunately was never a part of, and after reading the script, I'm going to say thanks. Have you ever tried to memorize that? But before I start, as all of you know, Bill G. Toad, Professor Grandgeorge, whatever we call him, has the most illuminating educational style. You are learning whether you want to learn or not. And he will use so many amazing ways to get you there. And one of the favorite ways, at least one of our favorite ways, was, well, Nancy. Who would occasionally show up, not show up in the classroom, but of course. Nancy did, however, once or twice show up to rehearsals. And it was one of those rehearsals, Professor Grandgeorge, that not only did, well, you did hand me the best bits of my education, but you also handed me the single most embarrassing moment I have ever had in my life. Oh no, you'll remember. We were performing in 1988, I believe it was the summer of 1987, not 88. Butterflies Are Free, with our friend Marlene Vieira. And as some of you may know in the show, there's a scene where everybody's in their underwear. Everybody. And that's just before the act break. And I haul out the notebook, waiting for the notes from G. And there's Nancy, because she couldn't see the whole thing the following night. It's dress rehearsal. Mark. Change jingling in his pocket. I'm entirely unsure of how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. We need to discuss different underwear options. The boxers are not cutting it. Nancy now knows more about you than she ever knew. The killer was I didn't know Nancy was there. She was way in the back. And one more thing, Mr. Grandgeorge, these words are not mine. They come, I believe, from Sean Bellier, our old friend, who said of the education he received from Mr. Grandgeorge, and I think it's perfectly appropriate, I really can't detail those things that he taught me, but I can tell you he taught me nearly everything I know about everything. And that is what we thank you. To begin, at the beginning. It is spring, moonless night in small town, starless and Bible black. The cobble streets silent and hunched, quarters in Rabbit's Wood limping invisible down the slow black, crow-black fishboat bobbing sea. The houses are blind as moles, though moles see fine tonight in the snouting velvet dingles, or blind as Captain Cat there, in the muffled middle by the pump from the town clock, the shops in mourning, the welfare hall and widow's weeds, and all the people, lulled and dumbfounded town, are sleeping. Hush. The babies are sleeping, the farmers, the fishers, the tradesmen and the pensioners, cobbler, school teacher, the web-foot cockle woman and the tidy wives. Young girls lie bedded soft or glide in their dreams. The boys are dreaming wicked or of the bucking branches of the night and the jolly Rogered sea. You can hear the dew falling and the hushed town breathing. Only your eyes are unclosed to see the black and folded town vast and slow asleep. And you alone can hear the invisible starfall, the darkest before dawn minutely dew-grazed stir of the black dab-filled sea. Listen, it is the night moving in the streets, the processional salt, slow musical wind in Coronation Street and in Cockle Row. Listen, it is the grass growing up the Larrigip Hill, dewfall, starfall, the sleep of birds in Milkwood. Listen, it is the night neddying among the snuggeries of babies. Look, it is night dumbly, royally winding through Coronation cherry trees, going through the graveyard of Bethesda with wings gloved and folded and dew-doffed, tumbling by the sailor's arms. Time passes. Listen. Time passes. Only you can see behind the eyes of the sleepers the movements and the countries and mazes and colors and dismays and rainbows and tunes and wishes and flight and fall and despairs and big seeds of their dreams. From where you are, you can hear their dreams.
It takes a brave man to wear a linen suit. Even braver to wear it with flip-flops. And a boy, Axelson. Kennedy's Children, a Robert Patrick play about turbulent times, the people who lived through them, and the heroes they lost, was put on stage in 1979. We have Cynthia as Rhoda, who will share some insight to those times.
I made Robbie go to Woodstock. After they sprayed us with tear gas in the People's Park in Berkeley, I had to make him go. He wanted to leave for Mexico. He wanted to run away. But when I started getting the vibes about Woodstock, I made him go. There was 500,000 people standing up together to defy what was going down. He just looked at them and said, "Kids, what do they know? Standing out in the open, they're going to drop an atom bomb on us." But they didn't. Oh, sure, the press and the media ripped it off for movies and music. That's how you work within the system. You make them see who you are. Robbie just said, "Let them fight for it now. I've had enough." He was into heroin. Here's stories about wonderful things. The priests burning the draft records. The GIs themselves resisting the war. Robbie would just say, yeah, look at the streets. It was true. It was true. The streets here on the Lower East Side had turned into the same thing as Berkeley. Just kids, drugged, hungry, stealing, hustling, crazed, muttering, psychedelic, superstitious, pseudo-religious garbage, or begging, shivering, and snarling. People used to come from other countries and say, "I want to be American, it's cool." How could we tell them we were finished? We were through. We weren't. And we're not. When Robbie got better, he campaigned for Nixon. He said it was the quickest way to tear the country down. Every day it was something new with Robbie. Hare Krishna or Catholic monastery, or he's going to direct movies or weave beads. For some reason, one day he decided Vanessa Redgrave was living next door, disguised as a Puerto Rican, and taping our conversations. And John Lennon was God. And Jim Morrison was Satan. And Donovan was Christ. Christ! That was the winter, 68, 69. That was the winter they produced Bridge Over Troubled Water. That's how the 60s come.
Let's change gears for the next few plays, okay? Let's not only change gears, let's change countries. And let's head over to jolly old England, home of the bard himself. Now, everybody knows that G has a soft spot for Shakespearean plays, especially the comedies. From the outrageous sets and costumes to the interesting casting choices and performances. Let's take a look at three in particular, starting with Twelfth Night.
Music be the food of love. Play on. Give me excess of it, that surfeiting the appetite may sicken, and so die. Let's strain again. It had a dying fall. Oh, it came o'er my ear like the sweet sound that breathes upon a bank of violets, stealing and giving odor. Enough, no more. 'Tis not so sweet now as it was before. Oh, spirit of love, how quick and fresh art thou, that notwithstanding thy capacity, receiveth as the sea, not enters there, of what validity or pitch soe'er, falls into abatement and low price, even in a mint, so full of shapes is fancy, that it alone is high fantastical.
Isn't it funny how a single casting choice can stick with you through the years? Jill Holland was cast as Helena in Midsummer Night's Dream. And in the years that followed, after doing the play in 1990, she would audition with this favorite monologue and has even taught this piece to her intro to acting class at Avon High School.
How happy some or other some can be. Through Athens, I am thought as fair as she. But what of that? Demetrius thinks not so. He will not know what all but he do know. And as he errs, doting on Hermia's eyes, so I, admiring of his qualities, in base and vile, folding no quantity, love can transpose to form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. Nor hath love's mind of any judgment, taste, wings, and no eyes figure unheedy haste. And therefore is love said to be a child, because in choice he is so oft beguiled. As waggish boys in game themselves forswear, so the boy love is perjured everywhere. For ere Demetrius looked on Hermia's eyes, so he held down oath that he was only mine. And when this hailed some heat from Hermia's son, so he dissolved and showers of oaths did melt. I will go tell him of fair Hermit's flight. Then to the wood will he tomorrow night pursue her. And for this intelligence, if I have thanks, it is a dear expense. But herein mean I, to enrich my pain, to have his sight thither and back again.
And finally, how can we forget in 1993 the massive production of The Comedy of Errors? With probably one of the largest casts ever here at the barn, G was in his element in this playful story of mistaking identity with two sets of twins, with a little love and a little lust mixed into it. There are so many stories I could personally share from the production, but one that stands out was the sloped stage that you and Michael Mahoney put together. And for that, I can tell you when it's going to rain. Probably the best memory from this play was actually watching G in his element. So animated and enthusiastic during rehearsals and during the production itself. It was hard to really know which show to watch. Your fellow actors on stage or G in the audience, acting everything along with you. Here now is a great example of the good times with Obi playing Dromio about a smitten wench in a unique and hilarious manner. Why, how now, Dromio? Where thou runnest so fast?
Do you know me? Am I Dromio? Am I your man? Am I myself?
Thou art Dromio, thou art my man, thou art thyself.
I am an ass. I am a woman's man, and besides myself.
What woman's man? How besides thyself?
Besides myself, for I am due to a woman. Well,
And what claim does she have to thee?
Oh, such claim as you would lay to your horse. Well, she would have me as a beast. Well, not that I am a beast, and therefore she would have me, but that she is a very beastly creature.
What is she?
Rather reverent body, one that no man may speak of, yet he say, Sir, reverence. I am but lean luck in the match, though she is a wondrous fat marriage.
How doth mean a fat marriage?
Well, she is the kitchen wench, and all in grease. Well, I know not what to make of her, but to make a lamp and run from her own light. Her rags and the tallow within them would burn a Poland winter. If she lives as long as doomsday, she'll burn a week longer than the world.
Well, what complexion is she of?
Swart, like my shoe, but not half kept so clean. The thing is, she sweats. A man may go o'er shoes in the grime of it.
Well, that's a fault a water will mend?
Oh, no, sir. 'Tis in the grain. Noah's flood could not do it.
Well, what's her name?
Nell, sir. Her name and 3/4. That is an L and 3/4. Could not measure her from hip to hip.
Well, then she bears some breath.
Well, not so much from head to toe, As from hip to hip. She's spherical. like a globe. I could find out continents on her.
In what part of her body stands Ireland, then?
Sir, it lies in her buttocks. I found it by the bogs.
Where's Scotland?
Ah, that I found in the barrenness. Here, in the palm of her hand.
Where's France?
France. It would be on her forehead. On and reverted, making war against her hair.
Where's England?
I looked to the chalky cliffs, but found no whiteness in them. Well, perhaps it would be on her chin. Yes, with the salt room that runs between it and France.
Where's Spain?
I saw it not, but I felt it. The heat of her breath.
Where America, the Indies?
Oh, sir, on her nose. All o'erdone with carbuncles, rubies, sapphires. And Spain had sent whole armados of carracks to be balanced at her nose.
Where stood Belgia, the Netherlands?
Oh, sir, I looked not so low. In conclusion, I know.
Well, go with me presently, post to the road. I will not harbor in this town tonight. If everyone knows us and we know none, 'tis time, I think, to trudge, pack, and be gone.
As a man for life would run from a bear, so fly I from she that would be my wife.
Another classic G moment happened in the auditions of The Importance of Being Earnest in the fall of 1990. While reading the role of Lady Bracknell, Lee Rush was surprised to have G tell her that her interpretation of the lines was not over the top enough. At which point he asked a certain actor to provide an example for her. After watching Stephen chew the scenery as Lady Bracknell, Lee had another crack at it and, of course, won the role.
Well, I must say, my dear Algernon, that...
Well, I must say, Algernon, that I think it is high time that Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he is going to live or to die. This shilly-shallying about the question is absurd. Nor do I approve of the modern sympathy with invalids. I consider it morbid. Illness of any kind is hardly to be encouraged in others. Health is the primary duty in life. I'm always telling that to your poor uncle, but he never seems to take much notice. So far as any improvement on his ailment goes. I should be very much obliged if you would ask Mr. Bunbury not to have a relapse on Saturday, for I rely on you to arrange my music for me. It is the end of the season, and one wants something that will encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season when everyone has said everything there is practically to say, which probably wasn't very much. Well, I thank you, Algernon. I'm sure the program will be delightful after a few expurgations. French songs I cannot possibly allow. People always say that they are improper, and either balk, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. But German sounds a thoroughly respectable language, and indeed I believe is so.
Sorry, Teresa.
Yeah.
In 1991, G directed The Crucible here at the barn. What a great space for Arthur Miller's chilling look at the Salem witch trials and what can happen when society is taken over by intolerance and hysteria. Please welcome back now, Stephen as John Proctor.
Praise to God, man! Praise to God! You shall be blessed in heaven for this. Now then, let us have it. Are you ready, Mr. Cheever?
Why must it be written?
Why, for the good instruction of the village, mister. This we shall post upon the church door. Where is the marshal?
Marshal, hurry!
Now then, mister, will you speak slowly and directly to the point for Mr. Cheever's sake? Mr. Proctor, have you seen the devil in your life? Come, man, there is light in the sky. The town waits at the scaffold. I would give out this news. Did you see the devil?
I did.
Praise God.
And when he came to you, what were his demands? Did he bid you to do his work upon the earth?
He did.
And you bound yourself to his service? Come in, woman.
Ah, John. You are well then, eh?
Courage, man, courage. Let her witness your good example that may come to God herself. Now hear it, goody nurse. Say on, Proctor. Did you bind yourself to the devil's service?
Why, John?
I did.
Now, woman, you surely see what profit nothing to keep this conspiracy any further. Will you confess yourself with him?
Oh, John, God send his mercy on you.
I say, will you confess yourself, goody nurse?
Why, it is a lie. It is a lie. How may I damn myself? I cannot.
Mr. Proctor, when the devil came to you, did you see Rebecca Nurse in his company? Come, man, take courage. Did you see her with the devil?
No. I did not.
Did you ever see her sister Mary Eastie with the devil?
I did not.
Did you ever see Martha Corey with the devil?
I did not.
Did you ever see anyone with the devil?
I did not.
Proctor, you mistake me. I am not empowered to trade your life for a lie. You most certainly seen some person with the devil. Mr. Proctor, a score of people have already testified they saw this woman with the devil.
Then it is proved. Why must I say it?
Why must you say it? Now you should rejoice to say it if your soul is truly purged of any love for hell.
They think to go like saints. I'd like not to spoil their names.
Mr. Proctor, do you think they go like saints?
This woman never thought she'd done the devil's work.
Look, you, sir, I think you mistake your duty here. It matters nothing what she thought. She is convicted of the unnatural murder of children. And you for sending your spirit out upon Mary Warren. Your soul alone is the issue here. Mister, you will prove its whiteness or you cannot live in a Christian country. Will you tell me now what persons conspired with you in the devil's company?
I speak my own sins. I cannot speak for another, and my tongue will not stand it.
Excellency, it is enough, his confession and sound. Let him sign it. Let him sign it.
It is a great service, sir. It is a weighty name. It will strike the village that Proctor confessed. I beg you, let him sign it. The sun is up, Excellency.
Come then, sign your testimony. Give it to him.
You have all witnessed it. It is enough.
You will not sign it?
You have all witnessed it. What more is needed?
Do you sport with me? You will sign your name or it is no confession, mister.
Praise be to the Lord.
Please, sir.
No.
Mr. Proctor, I must have...
No. No. I have confessed it. You've all seen it. It's done. You have no need of this.
Proctor, the village must...
Damn the village! I confess to God. God has seen my name on this. It is enough.
No, sir, it is not
It did
enough!
not come to save my soul. God has seen my name. It is enough.
You have not confessed.
I have confessed. I have confessed. Is there no confession, no penitence, but it be public? God has seen my name on this. He does not need to say my name on the church. God knows how black my sins are.
Mr. Proctor.
I have 3 children. How may I teach them to walk like men in the world? And I sold my friend.
You have not sold your friend.
Barely not. I blacken every single one of them the moment this is hung upon the church, the very day they hang for silence.
Mr. Proctor, I must have good and legal proof.
You are the High Court. Your word is good enough. Tell them I confessed. Say Proctor broke his knees and wept like a woman. Say what you will, but my name cannot.
It is the same, is it not?
No.
If I report, or you sign to it?
No, it is not the same. What others say and what I sign to is not the
Why?
same.
Do you mean to deny this confession when you're free?
I mean to deny nothing.
Then explain to me, Mr. Proctor, why you will not...
Because it is my name! Because I cannot have another in my life. Because I lie and sign my name to lies. Because I am not worth the dust on the feet of them that hang. How may I live without my name? I have given you my soul. Leave me my name.
Is that document a lie? If it is a lie, I will not accept it. What say you? I will not deal in lies, mister. You will give me your honest confession in my hand, or I cannot keep you from the rope. Which way do you go, mister?
Proctor!
Marshal!
Man, you will hang. You cannot.
I can. And there is your first marvel that I can. You've made your magic now. For now, I think I do see a shred of good in John Proctor. Not enough to weave a banner with, but white enough to keep it from such dogs. Show them no tear. Show courage and honor now. Show a stony heart and sink them with it.
And you fear nothing. Another judgment waits us all.
Hang them high over the town. Who weeps for these, weeps for corruption.
Beth Henley's tale of the McGraw sisters and the tragic comedy Crimes of the Heart is another of G's favorites, which he directed in 1992.
After I shot Zachary, I put the gun down on the piano bench, and then I went into the kitchen and made up a pitcher of lemonade. I was dying of thirst. My mouth was just dry as a bone. I made it just the way I like it, with lots of sugar and lots of lemons. About 10 lemons in all. And then I added 2 trays of ice and stirred up with my wooden stirring spoon. And then I drank 3 glasses, one right after the other. Well, they were large glasses. I'd say about that tall. And then my stomach kind of swole all up. Guess it was on account of all them sour lemons, huh? And then what I did was, I wiped off my mouth with the back of my hand. Like this. I did it to clear up all the little beads of water that had settled there. And then I called out to Zachary. I said, Zachary,
I've made some lemonade. Can you use a glass? He didn't answer. So I poured him a glass and brought it out to him. And there he was, lying on the rug, looking up at me and trying to speak words. And I said, "What? Lemonade? You don't want it? Could you use a Coke instead?" Then I got the idea that he was trying to tell me to call on the phone for medical help. So I called up the hospital, gave him my name and address, and told him my husband had been shot and he was lying on the rug and there was plenty of blood. I guess it's going to look kind of bad. Me making up that pitcher of lemonade before I called the hospital. I think the reason that I made up the lemonade, other than the fact that my mouth was just dry as a bone, was that I was afraid to call the authorities. I was afraid. I was afraid that they would see that I tried to shoot Zachary, in fact that I had shot him, and that they would accuse me of attempted murder and take me away to jail. Because that's what is happening. That's what did happen. And here I am, just about ready to go off to Parchment Prison Farm. Yes, here I am on the brink of utter doom. I feel so all alone.
Spoon River Anthology, Edgar Lee Masters' collection of poems of the dead speaking frankly about life, love, and loss, is a gripping work. And that was performed at Roger Williams twice, in 1974 and 1995. The passionate Sarah Brown now speaks to us from the Hill.
Maurice, weep not, for I'm not here under this pine tree. The balmy air of spring whispers through the grass. The stars sparkle, the whippoorwill calls, but thou grievest, while my soul lies rapturous in the blessed nirvana of eternal life. Go to the good heart that is my husband, he who broods upon what he calls our guilty love. Tell him that my love for you, no less than my love for him, wrought out my destiny. That through the flesh I won spirit, and through spirit, peace. There is no marriage in heaven, but there is love.
Before we close with a classic final monologue, I'd like to invite Stacey Uria up on stage to help reenact the scene from the Glass Menagerie once again.
And for me, one of the most memorable moments from this particular production was the second performance when I came on stage with a tray of lemonade and spilled it everywhere, to which there was a few moments of shock, but then we just decided to pick them up and pretended as nothing happened and proceed with the show. After the show, we're all kind of standing there and I was horrified. And she said, "Oh my." As if it were planned. Ida Scott, Commander Wingfield. We missed you at the DAR last Monday. First, how is your sinus condition? Oh, you are just a Christian martyr. That's what you are. You're just a Christian martyr. Well, listen, I noticed in my little red book that your subscription to The Companion is just about to expire, just when that lovely new serial by Bessie May Harwood's starting up again. It's the first thing she's written since Honeymoon for 3. Now, that was unusual, wasn't it? Well, Ida, this one is even lovelier. It's all about the horse being set on Long Island, and the debutante is thrown from her horse while taking the jumps at the regatta, and her spine is injured. Yes, that's what the horse did. He stepped on her. Well, there's only one person in the entire world that can keep her from going completely paralyzed, and it's the man she's engaged to be married to. Oh, and he's tall, Ida, and he's blonde, and he's handsome. That's unusual, too, isn't it? Well, he's not perfect. He's got a weakness. He's just got the most terrible weakness in the entire world. He just drinks too much.
Yeah.
Oh, Ida, don't let them burn, honey. Go check and I'll hold on. What? You know what that woman did? She hung up on me.
Now, what are you up to?
Trying to save your eyesight. You only get one pair of eyes, and you have got to take care of them. Well, I know that Milton is blind, but that sure is not what made him a genius.
Mother, can you please go away? I'm trying to write.
Why can't you sit up straight, honey, so your shoulders don't stick out like sparrows' wings?
Please go busy yourself with something. I'm trying to write here.
I've seen a medical chart, so I know what this position does to your internal organs. You sit up straight, and I'll sit up straight, and I'll show you. So your stomach presses into your lungs. And your lungs, they press right into your heart, and that poor little heart gets discouraged. It hasn't got any room to go on left beating for you.
Oh, what in the hell am I supposed to do?
Have you lost your senses?
Yes, I have. You've driven them out of me.
What is the matter with you, you big idiot?
I haven't got a thing. Not a single thing left in this house that I can call my own.
Lower your voice.
Yesterday, you confiscated my books? You had the nerve.
I did. I took that horrible book back to the library. That awful book by the insane Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot control the output of a diseased mind or those who hate them, but I will not allow such filth in my house. No,
House.
no, no,
House.
no, no.
Who pays rent on this house? Who makes a slave of himself?
Don't you talk to me that
Oh,
way.
no, I mustn't say anything. I've just got to keep quiet and let you do all the talking.
Let me tell you something.
Oh, I don't want to listen.
No, just listen. Listen, I am tired of your impudence. And another thing, I am right at the end of my patience.
And what am I supposed to reach the end of, Mother? Don't I have any patience to reach the end of? I know, it seems unimportant to you what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, having a difference between them. You don't think of that.
I think you're doing things you're ashamed of.
Oh.
And that's why you act like this. I don't believe you go to the movies every night. Nobody goes to the movies night after night, Tom. Nobody in their right mind goes to the movies as often as you pretend to. People don't go to the movies at nearly midnight. And movies don't get let out at 2 a.m. You come home stumbling, muttering to yourself like you're a maniac. You get 2 hours sleep and then you go to work. Well, I can only imagine what you like down there, moping and doping because you're in no condition.
That's right. I'm in no condition.
How dare you jeopardize your job? Jeopardize our security. Well, how do you think we'd manage if we lost the job?
Mother, look, do you think I'm crazy about the warehouse? You think I'm in love with the Continental Shoemakers? You think I want to spend 55 years of my life down there in that Celotex interior with fluorescent tubes? Honest to God, I'd rather somebody picked up a crowbar and bashed my brains out than go back morning. But I go, sure, I get up. Every time you come in, you know that bloody rise and shine. Rise and shine! I think how lucky dead people are. But I go, I get up. For $65 a month, I give up all that I ever dream of doing and being. And you say that's all I can think of? My mother, if self is all I ever thought of, I'd be where he is, gone, as far as the system of transportation reaches. Please, don't grab at me, Mother.
Grabbing at you, I just want to know where you're going.
I'm going to the movies.
I don't believe that lie.
No? Well, you're right. I'm not going to the movies. I'm going to the opium dens, Mother. Yes, dens of vice and criminal hangouts. I've joined the Hogan gang. I'm a hired assassin. I carry a Tommy gun in a violin case. I run a string of cat houses out in the valley. They call me Killer Wingfield. I'm really leading a double life. By day, I'm an honest, simple warehouse worker. But at night, I'm the dynamic czar of the underworld. Why, I go to gambling casinos and spin away a fortune at the roulette tables. I wear a patch over one eye and a false mustache. Sometimes I wear green whiskers. On those occasions, they call me El Diablo. Oh, I could tell you things to make you sleepless, Mother. My enemies plan to dynamite this place some night. Some night they're going to blow us all sky high. And will I be glad? Oh, will I be happy. And so will you be. We'll go up over Bloom Mountain on a broomstick with 17 gentlemen callers, you ugly, babbling old witch!
I will never speak to you again another day on your life until you apologize to me.
If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. And this weak and idle theme, no more yielding, but a dream. Gentles, do not apprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And as I am an honest puck, if we have unearned luck now to escape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long. Else the puck a liar call. And so good night unto you all. Give me your hands and we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.
Everybody can take their seats. I would like to invite the class of 1973 to join us on the stage, please. Anyone in the audience from the class of 1973?
Joe.
That's Joe.
Yeah.
Unaccustomed as any of us are to public speaking. I can't thank you enough. We wouldn't be here, any of us, if you hadn't been there and stuck by us. 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls, stealing lumber from construction sites to finish things that we had messed up, so that we could build a set by tomorrow. That was before a theater. We didn't have anything but classrooms and a club. And we graduated from a club 4 years later. Do you believe it? After spending a year in England and doing all sorts of stuff that we haven't got time to talk about right now, but we'll have a party afterwards and we can talk about it all then. I can't thank you enough. And Nancy for sharing him with us all those years and standing by us even though we messed up constantly. We hope we do you proud. We need to do you proud. You have done us so, so well. Thank you. Thank you. Don't hesitate.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jean. Happy birthday to you.
Before you say a few words, the cast and the committee of the theater event, and on behalf of all the theater alumni, we would just like to offer you as a birthday gift this memento of today's performance and today's celebration. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. On the plaque outside that bears this building's official name, you will see in Latin a very poetic phrase which most of us know by now. Translated, it reads, "Reader, if you seek his monument, look around you." With that in mind, it is with humility and honor on behalf of the students, colleagues, friends, and family gathered here for you today, Professor, I say to you, look around you. This is your monument.
Made me cry.
Such dear people. I can't. I don't know what to say, except I wonder if I had known what was ahead, if I would have come today. Certainly more than I expected. But you've been wonderful through all the years, not just today. It's been a great privilege. Sure. And I see that there are people that I haven't even spoken to yet. Absolutely amazing. Charlene, Sarah. And your teachers. Nothing could make me more happy. Well, the day doesn't end here, right?
Like all good birthday parties, the fun doesn't really start till we get a slice of cake.
Right.
So I would ask you all to join us next door at the law school, where we will destroy the cake. But before we do that, I would like to take a quick moment to thank a lot of people who made this event possible. To the fantastic and talented group of actors who took so much time and effort to perform in front of you today. The wonderful stage crew and Teresa, the people that work behind the scenes. The amazing faculty and staff here at the barn for all their help. To Lisa Riola and the alumni office for all their help in getting this production together. And finally, I'd like to thank Megan and Laura, who deserve all the credit.